Good afternoon, friends. This is Kathy with Homespun Homemaking, and I have an Etsy shop called Kathy's Hearts Creations if you want to check that out. But I'm here today just to make another video on homemaking. Excuse my appearance. I am not usually dressed up when I'm working here at home. Today I've gotten multiple projects going. I'm working on making a homemade kitchen, toy kitchen for my great-grandson when he comes to visit, so he has a little something to play with. And so some of the things that I had ordered online are not going to arrive now until next week, so I'm working on freezer cooking now. I have harvested tomatoes this spring, and I have them frozen, and so now I'm peeling the skins off and getting ready to make tomato soup. So I thought, well, I'll just bring you all along with me and talk you through, a little bit. We can visit. So I'm going to turn the camera off and move it so we can see. I had a pretty good season for tomatoes this year. I grew better boys. Here in the South, they seem to do quite well in their heat. And they last until about June. I'll plant them in March, and then I harvest them up until June. And so I have quite a few bags. But what I do, and this may be a tip that you already know, but I'm going to share it with you anyway because somebody may not know that. I found out that if you freeze them, I quarter my tomatoes, freeze them on a cookie sheet, and once they're frozen, then I put them in Ziploc bags. Well, when you're ready to make soup, run them under a little bit of water, slip a knife under the skin. I don't know whether you can see that. And then the skin just peels right off. So there's no more, I forget what the method is that you call, when you boil it. You stick them in boiling water and then you put them in ice and chill them. That way when they're fresh, I like doing them this way. This is quick and easy. They store well in the freezer. And I make tomato soup multiple ways. I don't always follow a recipe. Right now, I have, that's not just water that I have sitting in my pan. That is broth from when I cooked kale and when I cooked collard greens. And there's a little bit of chicken broth in there as well. And that adds some depth of flavor in the turnip greens and the kale. Also, the broth from that will have nutrients in it, and I didn't want to waste it, so I'm learning how to do things just a little bit differently than I used to. So that's just one of the things that I've done. But I've got quite a few bags here to fill. If you all have some ways that you handle tomatoes, please take a moment and share it at the bottom of this video in the comments. I would love just to have some tips as to how you manage these things. Before I get too much further into this, I wanted to say how very, very grieved I am for Texas and now for New Mexico and for North Carolina again. The weather this year is just out of control, and it's sad. My heart just aches for all those families in Texas particularly who've lost all those little ones. You send your kids to camp and you have no idea that it might be the last time you're with them. And actually that's just true in life, entirely. We just don't live like it is. I know I haven't. The years I've been around, you just go on and you live life and you don't think about what might be. But as you get older, you do. And so I've gotten to a place where I'm just grateful for each moment. A lot of ladies my age won't grow their own vegetables or still cook even. A lot of people have given that up as their families have shrunk. For me, I've always loved it. I don't like pre-made foods very much. I'm not 100% without. I do still, purchase some things that way. But I'll have to say most of what I eat is I make from fresh ingredients if I can. And if not fresh, then frozen or canned. Oops, just about lost that one. So anyway, what I will do with these tomatoes, I will boil them down. And once they're cooked good and soft, then I'll take an immersion blender and I'll puree everything. I know some people like to leave the skins on. I've had some health issues where my body won't digest things like that, so I have to avoid that. Same thing with seeds. You know, tomatoes have seeds and I will strain those. Maybe I will have a video on when I'm doing that. I'm not sure how many bags of this I will get in this pot. But some of the things I like to add to my soup, I like to, of course, use basil, dry basil, and garlic, and onions. It just seems to flavor everything up well. Sometimes I'll even use oregano. I like the Italian flavorings, so I have a tendency to lean towards that. This will go great with a grilled cheese sandwich. Well, back to what I was doing this morning. I'll share a little bit about that. Some of you who have toddlers in your life, mom and dad, grandparents, great-grandparents. I'm actually a great-grandparent of a little guy who turns 2 tomorrow. And so he has a nice kitchen at his house, little play kitchen at his house. But he comes here with his grandmother every couple of weeks. And so we just get to enjoy him for hours at a time. I can remember as a kid, I had an aunt who never had children of her own, but she always had toys for us to play with. And one of my most favorite things at her house was Lincoln Logs, because I didn't have any at my house. So here I am, almost 73 years old, and I still remember and appreciate having those toys at her house to play with. I guess she probably picked them up, rummage sales and whatnot, because I don't think they had garage sales yet in the early 60s, but so it's something that I'm repeating now with this little guy. First little boy in our family, or in our side of the family in a long time, so he enjoys cooking. He enjoys cooking with his little stove. So, but anyway, getting back to that, I've done some research to try to figure out if there was a way that I didn't have to spend a lot of money, because play kitchens, the price of play kitchens have changed quite a lot since my daughter was a toddler. My goodness, the price just shocked me, and it's like, that's a little rich for me at this point, and for just a temporary time of using it, and I just didn't want to put out big bucks for that. So I went on to Pinterest, and lo and behold, there are a lot of other people who've come up with great ideas using old furniture, nightstands, dressers, old TV cabinets. Those are nice. If I could have handled hauling one of those home, probably that would have been nice to them, but it would take up a lot of space. And I'm trying, I don't have an actual playroom here for him, so I am have carved out a little bit of space behind my sofa in my great room as a play area, where he can set his little kitchen and his table and chairs and whatnot, his bookcase. So we have all these things in one place. It doesn't look cluttered. So anyway, Monday, I went to 2 thrift stores. And when I was at the one thrift store, or actually this one I guess I got at Goodwill. It was on sale. I got it. I mean, it's not all wood. It's part wood, part particle board that has wood veneer on it. The top was damaged, but I didn't have a problem with that. Somebody had set water on it or spilled water on it, and it was all buckled. And so I removed the veneer. Hold on just 1 second. I'm going to get me some more bags of tomatoes out of the freezer. Okay, I'm back. Had to take a little break here to get some more tomatoes out. My kettle's getting quite full. I may have to divide this into 2 kettles, or 2 Dutch ovens actually. But anyway, getting back to the play kitchen. I found a nightstand at Goodwill. Top was damaged, but it was down. The price for the thing was only $4, but the rest of it was solid. Had 2 drawers in the bottom of it, 2 good-sized drawers, and it was. What I liked about it, it was square. It didn't have a lot of trim around it. You know, where it would just, so it just looked like a box. So that part was perfect. So I brought it home, and I began to remove the veneer from the top of it. Sanded down any of the buckled places on the particle board. I'm having a hard time talking and working at the same time. Can you believe that? So anyhow, did that. I had a piece of, I don't know, I guess it's 1/8 inch, the thin wood I use to cut out ornaments when I make them for my Etsy shop. And so I had a scrap that was almost the perfect size. I had to saw a couple places to get it to fit. And so I glued it on with wood glue. And then I remembered I had some old corbels that I had stored away from years ago. I think I picked them up at a garage sale or something for a little bit of nothing. If something's made out of wood, I have a tendency to pick it up because I like working with wood. And so I extended the top out to one side a little bit to extend it out because it's not a very big piece. This is turning out to be the cutest little thing. So the 2 corbels have 2 little hearts, those little country hearts on them, and that supports the extension of the top. And then I thought, well, what am I going to use for a sink? Well, on Pinterest, some of the gals or guys that made these homemade kitchens used a stainless steel bowl. So I found one for a little bit of nothing at the thrift store. I have not installed it, but I ordered an inexpensive bathroom faucet, with the handles and everything, because that's what another person did, and I thought that would be a good idea. So I found one real cheap on Amazon, and so it's not going to arrive here until tomorrow, which I'm disappointed because I kind of wanted to get part of the layout done, but it's fine. And then I thought, well, how am I going to make the burners? There's people have done them in multiple ways. They've painted them on. They've used old CDs. And glued those on. But I wanted this to look a little more realistic. So at first I took the burners off of my stove because I still have the old top stove that, it's not the flat top like a lot of you girls use. With mine has the drip pans and whatnot. And so I tried tracing it, which was fine, but it just wasn't very accurate. I didn't quite like the way that it turned out. I traced it onto a piece of paper. So then, I thought, how am I gonna do this? Hold on a second. Okay, I needed to move some of that into another pot, and I thought it'd just be easier to do without being on camera. So anyway, I took my camera and set this burner down on the counter. Took a picture of it, and I printed off that picture. I copied it actually into a Word document so that I could adjust the size of the photo, so I could make the burners about the size I wanted them to be, a little less than 6 inches round. That's been absolutely perfect. I have the papers laying on top of the play kitchen, the unfinished play kitchen. But I'm, continuing to dream or to consider ways of making it cute. Looking at other people's ideas, but also wanting to come up with my own. And so that's what has been consuming my time today and the last couple of days. But I had these tomatoes in the freezer and I need to make room. I mean, yes, the soup will take up space, but not like the tomatoes do, because they don't lay flat. So I'm cooking them off. I'm actually going to be doing a lot of cooking today. I had bought some calf's liver, and I've thawed that out in the refrigerator, and so I'm going to be making that up. Liver and onions, I love. To me, that's a treat. I know a lot of people do not like liver, but I just adore it. I've always liked it. So that's going to be on my agenda for later this afternoon. I get this soup started. Get a chance here when I get this last bag peeled. I'll take you out into the family room and show you my little setup out there. It's a mess, but you know what? This is real life. I am not going to look like June Cleaver when I do these videos when I'm doing homemaking stuff. It's just not me. The one thing that's different that you do have that I don't normally do is makeup. I don't wear makeup when I'm at home by myself. When I'm working, nah. I usually use that for when I go away or for special occasions. Let's see, there was some other, I've got bacon also that I had bought at Aldi last week. If I get time, I may do some of that. I do have squash, yellow squash, which I try to do a lot of, and sweet onions. Definitely will be putting those in the oven. I'm going to be roasting those. I'll try to do a little video of those and do that as a separate video to show you how I do that. Freezer cooking has just changed my life. It's made life so much easier. And like I had said in the other video, I don't have a tendency to eat well. I'm not a healthy eater. I've been a junk food junkie for a lot of years. Convenience, I don't really care much for convenience foods, but I like eating out in restaurants and whatnot. But 2020 really has changed how I do a lot of things. I don't think the quality of restaurants is out there like it used to be. And I don't find it enjoyable now. And you pay so much. Service isn't good. Food's not, is kind of subpar. Most of the time, not always and not everywhere, but a lot of my favorite restaurants I don't even bother going to anymore. I'm learning how to cook them here. One thing that I did week before last, I guess. When was 4th of July? Last week? So I had gone to Aldi's. No, I had gone to Publix, excuse me. And they had buy one, get one free ribs. I think they were baby back ribs. It's not something that's a normal part of my cooking repertoire. I have not done that but once before. So I thought, you know what? for the price I'm paying for this, I got 4 meals out of it for $6 a meal, which you'll never find ribs in a restaurant for $6. So I did them in the oven. Oh, and I did mention to the lady just doing small talk at the register, she was packing my groceries, and she told me, don't wrap your pan in aluminum foil. Instead, use a turkey cooking bag. And I thought, okay, I will try that this time and see. Oh, that was so good, because those ribs steamed, and they just were so tender, so good. So I don't have to worry about relying on a restaurant to have good quality restaurant food if I can learn how to prepare it here at home. So anyway, I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to, well, I guess what I'm going to do is just kind of show you. I mean, it's just tomatoes in a saucepan with some broth. And I'm going to cook these for a few hours until they're soft. And then I'm going to clean up the sink and do that. Also, sourdough. I love sourdough. So I need to feed my sourdough starter. I had hoped to make bread today, but it didn't happen. So I'll just feed it and wait until I have a moment, have a whole day unbroken to prepare it. So I'm not gonna make you watch me prepare my soup, but I will take you out to the TV room and show you real quick what I've done with that little piece of furniture. Okay, so here we are going in. I hope this video isn't too shaky. I'm not the best for keeping things stable, but this is a little work area. I've been sitting at the kids' table. It's a little wooden table I bought years ago at a garage sale for my granddaughter when she would come here to play, and I kept it. And there's a bookcase that has toys and stuff in it. But this is the piece of furniture that I wanted you to see. And I don't know if the lighting is going to be good enough, but this is the nicest little dresser. Even though it's not what you would consider a good piece of furniture, it works perfectly. See how it's square? It doesn't have a lot of stuff. There's the corbels that I found that I had packed away, and I thought they'll look so cute on there, and I've had those things for years. But this is the piece of wood and the table, and things are not as they're gonna be. I'm still experimenting with things, but there's the burners that I took pictures of and printed them out, and I haven't decided exactly how I'm gonna transfer that on there, but at least I know the size and the space, and I just have to wait for the rest of my accessories to come. Little plastic salt and pepper shakers work perfectly for a play kitchen. So anyway, that's just a little tease. Let you see what I'm working on. I'll bring you along as I do a little bit more. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you don't have a whole lot of problems with rains and storms. It's been very stormy here. I lost a big limb yesterday from the wind in a thunderstorm. But anyway, I will see you all soon. Don't know exactly when. Trying to schedule these videos. I haven't quite got them scheduled, but just know I'm thinking of you, and I hope to see you all real soon. Bye-bye for now. Hey friends, I'm back. I almost forgot to do my sourdough starter. So I thought I'd take you along with me just so you can kind of see how I do it. And it's going to be just a short video, hopefully. And I'm going to move this camera because it's trying to set it so you can see what I'm doing when I'm doing it. Okay, let's get started. All right, what I do, take the rubber bands off, and I will stir up my sourdough. I'll let you see what it looks like inside. You see that? Okay, now what I'm going to do is take a clean jar. I'm going to set my scale for grams, and I'm going to be putting 25 grams into this jar of my sourdough starter. Okay, we're getting there. 21, 20, there's 25. And I've got it at 28, so I'm going to take a little bit out. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Now we're at 23, so I've got to put a little bit back. 24. 25. Okay, great. Now, I'm going to clear this out again and put it on 0. Sometimes it takes a couple of taps. And I'm going to put in 50 grams of water. And I got just a little too much, so I'm going to pour all of that out. Now it's at 49, 50, 51 is good enough. All right. And then I will take my spatula and stir this up. I need to do a little cleaning here. Sometimes I get a little messy. So anyway, I'll stir that up with the water. Okay, that's good. Now, I'm going to put that back at 0, and I'm going to put in 50 grams. I know you probably can't see this. The lighting's not good here. Maybe if I turn this light on. Let's see if that made a difference. I don't know whether you can see or my shadow. It's at 0, and so I'm going to start adding enough flour in there to bring it up to 50 grams. Hopefully pretty close to 50 grams. 37, 42, 51, close enough. All right, and so now what I'll do, I'll turn this off, set it up here, put the lid back on that, clean up some of my mess, and then I'm just going to stir this together. And you can see I had 2 jars of starter. You don't need to do 2 jars. I just like to have it on hand, just in case. So I mix it up real good. You don't want any flour left in the bottom of this. You want everything to be mixed together. And then I take this spatula and I try to clean the sides off as best I can. Helps you to see, you know, when it doubles, because that's what you want it to do before you can bake bread, is for it to double. Clean my spoon off with my finger, my impeccably clean finger. Even it out as best I can. And then I'm going to put a clean lid on. Rinse my finger off. And then I'm going to put a rubber band on here, right to the top, if you can see that, right to the top of where the mixed starter is. And that marks it for me to tell me, you know, it should go up to here when it's active. And you just do that every day. If you don't want to do it every day, and sometimes I won't, you can put it in the refrigerator, but you need to go in every so often though, and do this method of adding water, taking away the, now this is the leftover starter. This is what they call the discard. I am going to transfer that to a clean jar and save it. I like to add it to pancakes and to waffle mix. Mix everything, it just enhances the flavor. So anyway, that's how I do sourdough starter. I won't make you stand here and watch me do it again for the second time. But anyway, for those of you who want to do the sourdough starter, I'll try to remember to put the recipe for what I do for sourdough starter. Also, I'm going to put a recipe for the tomato soup in the link below. And that way you can, if anybody wants to make soup, you can. So I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. And I have got a million things I need to do. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. Thank you all for tuning in. And do me a favor if you can. Be sure to subscribe. Share my videos. Make comments. Like them. It gets me noticed on the YouTube algorithm, and that helps me to build my channel. As you know, right now I'm a very tiny little channel, but I've got some faithful viewers, and I'm grateful for all of you. So see you in a little bit. Hopefully in another week or so, I'll have another video for you. Bye-bye.